And we're live from our studios here, number 35, John Hammond Street in Accra. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 92.7. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Coming up this afternoon, Special Prosecutor issues notice for extradition of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta if he fails to appear on the 2nd of June. Also this afternoon, government estimates at least $700 million required to kickstart the 24-hour economy initiative. Plus, rising kidney diseases in the Ashanti region spark concerns over the effect of illegal mining activities. And much later, Minister for Energy and Green Transition embarks on a fact-finding mission to the Ashanti region in the wake of continuing power crisis there. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program. Let's start off the afternoon with this. The Special Prosecutor, Kisia Jabin, has served notice to use all legal means, including extradition, to hold former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana to answer questions over ongoing corruption cases against him. The latest from the Special Prosecutor follows a suit by Mr. Ofori-Atta challenging his description as a fugitive of justice and a wanted person by the OSP. Now, even before the details of the suit can be properly digested, the Special Prosecutor, he has responded, reminding the former Finance Minister of a mandatory appearance he must enter by the 2nd of June this year. Let me run you through the details of the OSP's response. The OSP first acknowledged a lawsuit filed by Kenneth Nanayao Ofori-Atta, who is the former finance minister. And in the OSP's response, he also noted that Mr. Ofori-Atta is mandatorily required to appear in person before the OSP on the 2nd of June 2025. He added this: failure to attend the meeting, he shall be re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons, and the OSP shall consider him a fugitive of justice. Now listen to the tone of the third one again. Failure to respond to this notice, failure to attend to the meeting, he shall be re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons, and the OSP shall consider him a fugitive from justice. Now, the OSP also says this: the OSP will cause the issuance of an Interpol red notice in its regard and cause the initiation of extradition proceedings in any jurisdiction in which he may be found. And he's talking about the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The OSP remains unwavering in its commitment to ensuring Mr. Ofori-Atta answers for his role as the prime suspect in 5 ongoing corruption and corruption-related investigations. So this is the details of what the OSP has responded to when it comes to the suit by Ken Ofori-Atta against the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the head of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Kisia Jabin himself. This is a conversation that has, if you like, opened a lot of reactions from various people, various responses challenging or reacting to the position or the posturing of both the OSP and Ken Ofori-Atta. Some are calling this a cat and a mouse game. We'll delve into this details, and we'll have some anti-graft crusaders to also speak on the back of this. But meanwhile, private legal practitioner Osman Al-Hassan says it is within the merits of the OSP to declare former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta as a wanted fugitive from justice. He says the Special Prosecutor does not need the permission of the court before declaring a person wanted.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
As part of his stakes, his mandate is to investigate and prosecute crimes or offenses that are related to corruption. And before you are investigated, most of the time you have to be arrested. Because when you commit an offense, they have to arrest you. And the arrest now gives you an opportunity to answer to a charge at the preliminary stage or not. And so if the special prosecutor wants your arrest and has given you an opportunity to avail yourself for investigation before he could even decide to arrest you or not, and you decide not to avail yourself, and you are not also available for the purposes of lawful arrest, then of course it is up to the prosecutor to take any step that is necessary to secure your availability for investigating and for the arrest.
So that's the voice of a private legal practitioner, Osman Al-Hassan, saying that it is within the merit of the OSP to declare the former finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, as a wanted fugitive. However, fraud and security consultant Richard Kumato believes the OSP should have made Interpol to extradite the former finance minister.
Is to activate the international protocols and look at the country he's in. If we have deportation or extradition arrangements with them, he is a public enemy now, and anybody who sees him can alert the OSP or can arrest him and bring him. So Interpol could be informed that we needed this person to answer some charges, and these are the charges we have preferred against him, and he must come to answer. So help us to bring him. He can do that. The BNI can do that. Today, Yoko has entered into some relationship with the National Crime Agency of the UK, which does investigations for the UK government outside of the UK. And so wherever you find yourself, there are these organizations who also collaborate and they work together when it comes to crime prosecutions and crime investigations, irrespective of who you are and wherever you find yourself. So that is one option available to him. The other option is to wait for him to enter the country any day, anytime, and they could pick him up to answer some of those questions.
And that's the voice of Richard Kumato, who is a fraud and a security consultant. Let's have a conversation on the back of this. And anti-graft crusader Vitus Azim is joining us. Mr. Azim, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Interesting turn of events, Mr. Azim. What do you make of what people are describing as a cat and mouse game?
Well, it's a very interesting development. And this is not the first time that we're seeing this. During the Kufuor regime, there were always threats of people being accused, turning around and accusing the accusers. And I'm tempted to see this in the same light. But I want to be convinced that the special prosecutor knows the law guiding his work and that he has taken the necessary steps for him to ensure that he has a case against the former finance minister.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be one of those cases that he's going to court and fail, and turn it around to blame the judiciary. You see that the Office of Special Prosecution body with powers given to him by an act of parliament. So we expect that if he takes up a case, he goes through the case step by step and makes sure that he has enough evidence to prosecute the case. But sometimes we don't tend to see it this way, and that's my worry.
Now, the OSP in his response says that the former finance minister, he will be re-entered onto the wanted list, and the OSP shall consider him a fugitive of justice, and of course, cause the issuance of an Interpol red notice like you spoke about, and cause the initiation of extradition proceedings. Where do we go from here? That's true.
So I think it will depend on the outcome of that case. If the suit does not go through, then the special prosecutor will have a way of going forward. But if the case goes through, then the special prosecutor will more or less come to a halt facing the wall. And that's why I said that it's always necessary for these investigative bodies to do their investigations very well, have enough evidence before they go forward. As for issuing press statements, they don't actually mean much to most people. Because if we just run through press, all the time press, I don't think that's the best way to go. You need to do your work. You see, when you are investigating a case, you don't yet have enough evidence. You don't come to the press to talk about it. Because at the end of the day, you may be embarrassed. And that's one worry that people are complaining. Certain people are thinking that he's using the media for various reasons, whatever reasons, but it is probably not the best approach.
Azim, thank you so much for your time with us. Vitus Azim is an anti-graft campaigner speaking with us there. This is a subject we'll be keeping an eye on to bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. But away from that, Special Advisor on the 24-hour economy, Gusik Tando, has hinted plans to amend the Public Procurement Authority Act. The proposed changes aim to mandate the purchase of made-in-Ghana goods, boosting local manufacturing as part of the government's flagship 24-hour economy policy. Now, speaking at the 2025 post-budget workshop in Parliament, Gusitando outlined the initiative dubbed Go Ghana, which seeks to rally citizens and businesses to prioritize locally produced goods and services. He emphasized that the program is designed to transform the manufacturing sector while fostering a culture of local consumption.
Using solar as a first anchor. Also, there has been some mention in the NDC manifesto of time of use tariff. We're looking at the possible protocols of how this will be implemented, and hopefully we will engage the Ministry of Energy on this matter. We're also looking at some of the LIs, particularly the LI relating to electricity supply and distribution, standards of performance, LI 11935, to see how we can cap and reduce the maximum outages that are allowed. You cannot build an industrial economy and allow in your regulations maximum outages of 12 hours. You're basically killing your industry. And so we need to look at that. And then also, and this is coming from exporters and manufacturers as well, we need to build more efficiency at our ports. And we need to basically begin to promote single window clearance systems for imports and exports, particularly in the strategic value chain. So we reduce the costs of forwarding and all the ancillary activities. You cannot be efficient. If you want to do 100% check for every container that comes into town, you are not going to be able to do it. We have to build the algorithms, the programs that allow us to do random checking, allows for quick passage out of the port so that manufacturers can access their raw materials and so on and so forth. And this can be done. It's been done in Singapore. Why can we not do it? It's been done in Malaysia. Why can we not do it? It's been done in Dubai. Why can we not do it?
So that's the special advisor on the 24-hour economy, Gusi Tando there. Well, a major criticism leveled against the government was failure to directly mention and make an allocation for the program in the 2025 budget. Mr. Tando has been explaining why.
To the budget allocation. The initial administrative budget of the Secretariat is going to be, or is in the budget that was announced on the 11th. The main program items, as I mentioned to you, are private sector driven. So the $700 million or so that we have by way of in-principle commitment and indicative support will be directly going to the private sector to finance the value chains that I've mentioned. But one of the components of the value chain development are agro-eco parks that will be basically tracking the enclave idea. And those will require infrastructure, irrigation equipment, minor roads, and so on. if you look at the $10 billion push, the 24-hour economy will apply for some of those funds to support the agro-eco park development. Beyond that, the funds that we are raising for the SME financing are for 15 to 30 years. With GIFT to see how we can then mobilize GIFT's capacities to be able to fund, including private sector development of infrastructure in the enclaves. So and then of course, prior to the budget, we notified that because we're preparing the program will not be ready for the budget. We may have some minimal demand.
And Gosi Tando, as special advisor on the 24-hour economy, also added that no constituency will be left out of the program. Moving on, the perennial water crisis in the greater Tamale metropolis is compelling residents to buy and drink from unwholesome sources, which predisposes them to some diseases like typhoid and other waterborne illnesses. A visit to some communities in the metropolis saw residents in queues struggling to get water for their domestic use. The estimated average water consumption of Tamale currently stands at 140,000 cubic meters a day. However, the Ghana Water Distribution Company, it only supplies 30,000 cubic meters, which is woefully inadequate to meet the demand of the residents. Let's bring in our correspondent, Christopher Amwako, for more. Chris, thank you for joining us. How severe is this water situation in the greater Tamale metropolis, and how are residents coping with this daily challenge of accessing clean water?
Yes, so Crosby, I can say that the situation is bad. As we speak now, the Ghana Water Company plant is only relying on 2 pumps, and they were supposed to be running on 4, even though they will not be able to meet the water demands of the people. So now 2 of the pumps have been broken down for some weeks now. The Water Distribution Company tells me that they are trying to fix them, and so this is bringing a whole lot of burden on the 2, and so they are unable to supply water to most parts of the metropolis. Residents have to resort to buying sachet water. Others have to go to the various dams in the metropolis, and so this has put some pressure on tricycle operators who have to commute several kilometers to other communities to draw water to sell to them. It is very severe, especially in the various senior high schools. These students have to, as it were, move several kilometers away from the schools to be able to draw water, and this is actually impacting on education in the area.
But Chris, what reasons have the Ghana Water Company provided for this huge gap? 140,000 needed, but only 30,000 being supplied.
Yes, so the machines that they rely on to pump water from the intake point for distribution is overreached. And so they are saying that if they get new machines, they'll be able to improve upon the water supply. But specifically, they need a whole new water system. For instance, the one that was promised, the $39 million project, if it comes, it will be able to supply the water demanded by residents in the greater Tamale metropolis. The other issue has to do with the perennial or incessant power outages in the area, and so they are unable to pump the water because they don't have power supply which will enable them to supply the water as well to the residents. So it's a very big challenge, and they are hoping that the new government will make money available for the new Tamale Water Project to be able to salvage this particular challenge.
Briefly, what are the immediate measures or interventions being implemented by the authority to address the crisis?
So they are now rationing the water. So, for instance, if Dungu, gets water today, it will take like 3 to 4 weeks before they get water again. There are areas that do not even get water at all. If you go to areas like Britain, Target, Koblimagu, and Dungu, and other areas, they don't even get water at all. It's been a long time they've seen water flow through their taps. But other areas, like if you go to Gurgu, Swana Yili, for them, because the pipe passes through these areas, they're able to get water at least twice a month.
Christopher, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Christopher Mwako speaking with us from Tamale there. Now, this is still Midday News on 3FM 92.7, also live on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now, where the recent unannounced power outages in parts of Kumasi, it has triggered a call by residents to demand for a load-shedding timetable. The unstable power situation, according to the ECG, is as a result of a technical challenge at Anwamaso bulk supply point. But residents complain the current situation is disrupting business activities. Thus, they want an immediate intervention. Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us with more details on the power situation in Kumasi. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. How frequent is the power outage problem in the Ashanti region?
Well, could be very, very frequent. For the past 1 week, the power has not been stable in most parts of Kumasi. In fact, it comes 30 minutes, it goes off 30 minutes, and keep coming on and off again. And this has been a worry for most residents, especially in a time where we record a lot of fire outbreaks or domestic fire outbreaks. In fact, most people are complaining about the destruction of their electrical appliances because they are unable to even plan their activity for the day. So they are just expecting to see that at least some form of timetable will be provided for them so that they will be able to plan adequately for the activity, especially for people who use electricity for their operations and other form of activity. So, like I said, very, very bad. You hardly get electricity stable for even more than an hour in most parts of Kumasi. Let's listen to what some of the residents have been sharing with me.
Lights in some dear, you say lights no. Sananadu Jinaho, say your mamma Jinafo. Say yes, we're sonny play. Now we are doing a play. We're sonny play. Now we are doing a play. They say a phone cry and you be crying at you. They say, I mean, nominate crying in our say. Men nominate crying in our say. Yes, some lights no, sir. I say, yeah. Oh, my own, sir, say, yeah, now watching you. I have one better soon now watching you. Nay, yeah, be an insufficient. Say, most Namudumuna. Am I a fault with this? I'm afraid back one say.
So, can be a more civil lane. I will do. Nebia Kanya on, off, on and off.
So those are the voices of some residents in Kumasi complaining about the power outage situation there. But Ibrahim, we understand the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, he was scheduled to visit some key power infrastructure projects in Kumasi. Is this in relation to the current power situation? But before you answer that, let's take a listen to the Energy Minister when he was in Parliament and he made the promise to visit Kumasi.
The cause of the outage in Kumasi and in the Ashanti region are in two folds. In December 2024, a major fault occurred on some underground cables that supplied power from Gridco to ECG at the Rich Bulk Supply Point substation in Kumasi. Unfortunately, there were no alternative routes to facilitate power evacuation and supply. What it meant is that in December 2024, when that major fault occurred, the system had not been configured to have an alternative route to allow power to evacuate it. And so from December through to January, there were several major challenges and outages in respect of supplying reliable power within that enclave. This went on and continued well into January, Mr. Speaker, and did not relent. And so, on assumption of office, this administration took urgent steps to replace